All right, guys, so today, all right, this whole chapter is based off of not just equations, but something called inequalities. Okay? So, if you talk about equalities, right, with the prefix "n," what does the prefix "n" mean? Not, right? So you're looking at something that's not equal. You say, well, that's a little weird. Yes and no. All right? So some of you guys, I'm sure, have seen, I'm almost positive all of you have seen inequalities. I don't know how much you've worked with them up to this point, though. Okay? So today's lesson, exciting, is going to have a little bit of story time to it. All right? So yes, you get to kick back and listen to a little bit of story time, and then we'll get into the lesson. Okay? All right. So when it comes to inequalities, okay, they're actually all around us. Okay. How many of you guys have been to an amusement park at some point in your life? Okay, actually, you know what? It doesn't. I think the fair has it too. You guys ever walk up to a ride to get on a ride, especially when you're younger, right? You walk up to the ride, and all of a sudden they have like this little cardboard cutout. Depends where you're at. If it's like maybe Disneyland, it's like Mickey Mouse. If it's somewhere else, it could be another thing. It could be a duck or something. I don't know. But it's a little cardboard figure. It's not really cardboard, right? It's like wood or something nice. And it says something like, there's usually like this little speech bubble. And the speech bubble says something like, "You must be my height to ride this ride." Right? Have you guys ever seen one of those? Yeah. Okay. Some people are pointing to some vertically challenged people in this class. Don't point those people out, all right? They're going to get there. They'll get to ride those rides, all right? Okay. So, it was like his friend that pointed him out too. I don't. Anyway, anyway, we talk about when you go, so you have these things. Now, I want to take you through this imaginary story. Now, first of all, has anyone ever seen a cardboard cutout that said, "You must be exact"? Okay, go. By the way, this cardboard cutout, let's say, is 4 feet, 48 inches tall. Okay, 4 feet tall, and the cardboard cutout would say, "You must be my height to ride this ride." Now, listen carefully, because when you're talking about inequalities, there's little differences that you have to make sure you're careful with. You must be my height to ride this ride. Well, here's what this means, guys. If we allow, put a little math in this, if we allow X being the height of everybody that gets to ride the ride, here's what that cardboard cutout is saying. What if someone is 46 inches? Can they ride that ride? No. What if someone's 49 inches?
No. Yes. No.
The answer is no. Because if this is the people that can ride the ride, you have to be equal to 48 inches. That's what the equal sign means in real life. It is 48 inches. Okay? Now, like I said, in life, we don't, there are things out there that doesn't work. Okay? So, now, let's talk about this, okay? Here comes another one. Here we go. Walk up, and you look at it, and it says, you must be taller than me to ride this ride. You must be taller than me to ride this ride. It's 48 inches, right? Can you ride that ride if you're 49 inches?
Yes.
52 inches?
Yes.
Okay. 72 inches?
Yes.
Okay. 46 inches?
No.
Can you ride that ride if you're 48 inches?
No. Yes. No. Yes.
Let me say what the sign says again. You must be taller than me to ride this ride. Can you be 48 inches?
No.
The answer is no. You have to be taller. Okay? An inequality is comparing some scenario, in this case how tall you have to be to ride a ride, with the 48 inches. If this is your height to be able to ride the ride, this has to be taller than that. That's an inequality. The greater than sign. X, being your height, has to be greater than 48 inches to ride that ride. Okay? Now, you go with siblings, right? Walk over. And you go over to you can't just ride the big rides all the time. So you go over with your little brother, sister, cousin, little friend of a family or whatever, and you go over to the kiddie rides because you have to be patient, right? Have to be a good person, and you turn around, and you turn around, and there's same cutout, okay? Same size, all right? But it says you must be shorter than me to ride this ride, all right? So, can you be 49 inches? No. Can you be 48 and a half inches? No. Can you be 47 inches?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you be 48 inches? You cannot be 48 inches. You must be shorter than me to ride this ride. Okay? That means your height has to be less than 48 inches. You go to the next ride, but there's a little bit of a difference. Same cardboard cutout, same speech bubble, everything else, but it says you must be my size or shorter to be able to ride this ride. Can you ride that ride if you are 46 inches?
Yes.
42 inches?
Yes.
52 inches?
No.
48 inches?
Yes.
Yes. There's a difference. You're comparing the two. You have to be shorter as well as equal to. You must be less than or equal to 48 inches to ride that ride. It's a slight difference. That, I always say, think of it as a half an equal sign, like the alligator mouth, right? That's what I always used to call it when I was young. Came down and popped out, squeezed out one of the equal sign, but that little part on the bottom remains. But it's kind of that same idea. All right, it's time. It's time. You got to get on a good thrill ride again. You're going over to the big rides. You walk over, and another cutout, 48-inch cutout, right? And it says, you must be no shorter than me to ride this ride. Okay, playing with language a little bit, right? But it happens. You must be no shorter than me to ride this ride. Now take in what that really means. Okay? So first of all, can you be 46 inches?
No.
47 inches?
No.
Can you be 52 inches?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you be 48 inches?
Yes.
Yes. You cannot be any shorter than me or no shorter than me to ride this ride, but you can be, it implies that you can be equal to me to ride that ride. Okay, or of course, your height would be greater than to ride that ride. Okay? So, this is what we're dealing with today, guys. We are dealing with these alligator mouth things, and they are called inequalities. Okay? So, little one vocab word, and that is the vocab inequality. Everyone?
Inequality.
All right, so inequality, here we go. Is it not on there? Write it down below. That's kind of weird, but that's not on there. Inequality. And go to write this. A mathematical sentence that contains the less than sign, the greater than sign, the not equal sign, the greater than or equal to sign, or the less than or equal to sign. Okay, I want to talk to you guys about this. This will pop up every once in a while. According to our story, okay, according to our story, can someone tell me what they think that would mean when it comes to the roller coaster, getting on a roller coaster? Okay, but when it comes to our story, though, what would that mean? What would that mean?
You can be less than 48 and more than 48, but you can't be 48 inches.
So you could be shorter than 48 inches tall, or you could ride the ride if you're greater than 48, but they're discriminating against people who are exactly 48. You're exactly 4 foot tall, you are out of luck. All right, so that's what that's talking about. All right, so again, it doesn't quite fit the description, but there are times in life where things like that would be the case. All right, so here we go. On the little side there underneath your box, okay, you can put old alligator mouth. You guys remember, how many of you guys had elementary school teacher that said alligator mouth eats the what?
Bigger one.
Bigger number.
That's what he said. Yeah, teacher last year.
I won't say your name on the video that's being taped for that comment right now. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. Let's refocus. All right, so go ahead, grab your book, piece of paper. All right, and let's go ahead and flip over to page 364. 364. Eyes up here when you're ready. Name, date, period up at the top. Okay, so we're going to start on page 364. Okay, number 1 says, write an inequality for each sentence. All right, so here we go. For problem number 1, it says, lacrosse practice will be no more than 45 minutes. Okay, so step 1 is you're going to have a variable involved. Okay, and I'm okay with you just using your basic x. All right. If you want to use like P for practice or something, that's okay. Okay, or M for minutes. I don't. It doesn't matter. Okay. And you're gonna have it's going to be compared with obviously a number. In this case, it's the 45 minutes. Okay. Now the second step, and this is the one that is a definite thinker. You don't just throw something on there. Okay, because you have, what did it say? A total of 6 different inequalities, or I should say 6 different signs you can put. Okay, so you need to really think closely, kind of like we talked about when it came to the, the fake story of the rides at an amusement park, right? So lacrosse practice will be no more than 45 minutes. It might even help to just run it through your mind. So no more than 45 minutes. Then ask yourself, well, could it be 46 minutes? What would it be, guys? The answer would be no, right? And then you go under. Can it be 44 minutes? Yeah, 43?
Yeah.
So you know which way you're moving. You're getting smaller. So the practice has to be smaller than 45, right? So smaller than 45. Alligator mouth, right? That is implying x is smaller than 45. However, you have to ask yourself the crucial number, and that is it okay if practice goes 45 minutes? So you read it. It will be no more than 45 minutes. Can it be 45 minutes? Yes. So put your equal sign under there, and you have your answer. Okay, so step 1 is extremely easy, right? Step 2 is where the thinking part comes in the reading comprehension. Okay. Okay, questions. Okay, that's it with the first type of problem you're going to have. Go ahead and try out problem number 12. Problem 12. Anyone need more time? All right, guys, 30 seconds. Turn to your neighbor and share. Go. All right, here we go. Let me go ahead and, by the way, this would say you always read left to right. The proper way to say this is x is less than or equal to 45. Okay? That's a less than or equal. Obviously, if there's no line down below, it's just a less than. So x is less than 45 if it just had the alligator mouth eating the 45. Okay? Less than or greater than. So here we go. Problem number 12. Let me go ahead and I'm just looking for an answer here. All right, C10 is not in this class. All right, seat 8. X is greater than or equal to, like that? To what?
No, less than.
X is less than or equal to, like that? Okay, agree, disagree. What do you guys think? Okay, all right, well, let's check it out here. It says, the elevators in an office building have approved for a maximum load, max, no more than, right? That's what max means, of 3,600 pounds. So you have, here would be the approval rating, right, of how much there can be in there. So a max load means no more than, right? Well, it can be equal to 3,600, but it also could be less than. All right, you just can't go over, and that, of course, would be the correct answer. So nicely done, guys. Okay, questions? Okay, we're going to kind of take one step at a time. Jaden, one question before we move on? The unit, no. All they're doing is they're asking for an inequality, so they're just looking for something like that. Okay, so good question. I know it's a word problem. That's a great question. So when it comes to that, you did not have to put units. Okay. Here we go. Let's take a look at problem number 4. Different type of problem. Here's what it says. It has the problem of 13 minus x is less than 4. And then they define the variable, and just the very next one says x is equal to 9. Okay? Now, if you read the question, or I'm sorry, the directions, it says for the given value, meaning the solution of x equals 9, state whether the inequality is true or false. So here's what you're going to do. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to actually, all they want you to do on this is put parentheses where the variable is, and then, of course, plug in the number. So step 1 is plug in the number. Step 2 is simplify this expression that you plug the number in. Well, 13 minus 9 is 4. So, of course, I'm going to rewrite it. And then, ladies and gentlemen, step 3 is after you plug the number in, after you simplify, you just take a look at the sentence and see if it's true or false. Is 4 less than 4, guys? No. Right? It requires an equal sign. This one is false. So you state your answer. Okay, that's all they're doing, having you do on these. It kind of, if you just looked at it, it'd be a little confusing, but they want you to do that. All right. All right. Problem I want you guys to do, number 24. 24. Anyone need more time? Okay. Give you about 15, 20 more seconds. Okay. All right, 30 seconds. Go ahead and turn to your neighbor and share. Go. I'm sorry. Please make sure you tell them what your final sentence is as well. Because if your sentence doesn't match, that's a problem. All right, so I did hear that everyone said true almost all in one shot. So let's see if you guys are right. Make sure you're checking your work as well. So what we have is I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this with parentheses where the variable is. Plus 19 is less than 2 tenths, parentheses. See it, they define it as 20, so I'm going to plug 20 in here and 20 in here. In this case, now I simplify. That, of course, is 39. This is 40. 39 less than 40? Absolutely. True. Okay. All right. Any questions on that one? Okay, here we go. Let's take a look at problem number 6. Now comes something new. Okay. I want to talk really quickly about graphing. All right. I'm going to take this and I want to just give you guys a little reminder. Okay. If I solved an equation and I said, guys, graph your solution, here's what I would put. I would look on a number line. I would find out where the 48 inches is because x is equal to 48. And since it's equal to 48, I graph it by plotting a dot. I always tell my students, put a dot in the right spot. You like that corny joke? Thank you. Thank you for the pity laugh. Yes. All right. So now that is because this, for example, right? Someone had to be exactly 48 inches to ride the ride. Now, let me go to these. You don't have to write these down, all right? We're going to go step by step here. But if I am graphing this here, I'm looking for 48. Now, you can write it if you are equal to 48. So what I'm going to do is I put a dot there. That represents, remember, the X represents, of course, who can ride this ride. The equal sign is there. So someone that's 48 inches can ride the ride. However, the X is also being eaten by the alligator mouth, meaning that everyone that can ride the ride can also be larger than 48. So here's how you graph inequalities. You show that, and there's a number of different ways, but when it comes to our homework, this is the easiest way. You take and you point an arrow to the larger numbers, which are always to the right. Okay, so let me show you. This one here, right? It's being compared with 48. It's also equal, but you have to be smaller than 48. So what am I going to do? I'm going to point my arrow to the smaller numbers. Now, be very careful though. This is different. Right? Taking a look at this one, X is less than 48. If I, bless you, place a dot there, that is saying that someone that's 48 inches can ride the ride, and that would basically be a lie. Can't ride it if you're 48 inches. So here's how you get around that. Instead of placing a dot, I always think of it as like not touching something, just kind of staying away from it. You put a circle. You put a circle. And that, of course, is less than 48, so you point your arrow to the left. Okay. This one, of course, would be a circle, of course, it being larger than 48, larger than 48. Okay. Sometimes in your book you'll see this instead, like for this one here, you'll see something like this, circle, and then they'll have like this colored arrow like that. That's not quite touching the 48, and be something like that. Okay. And they might even have more numbers, okay? I would think, I'm okay with you not putting the extra numbers, and I'm okay with you drawing a quick arrow like that rather than shading it in. You can do that if you want, but it's going to take you a little longer, okay? So that's kind of what we're doing, all right? So let's get back to our lesson. Let's take a look, all right, at 364, page 364, problem number 6. Okay, so number 6, they give us an inequality, and it says X is less than -1. All right, it says graph each inequality on a number line. So here's what I care about, okay? Step 1 is I want you to draw a number line, okay? And the number that is X is being compared to, or the variable is being compared to, all right, I want you to place that number right in the middle. There might be other times where you'll have to put more numbers in that, but for tonight's homework, that's all I care about right now. Okay? Now comes step 2. Ask yourself, is there an equal sign? There's no equal sign, there's no part of an equal sign. This, remember, will tell you if it's a circle or if it's a dot, right? No equal sign, so it is a circle. And step 3 is, of course, point your arrow in the correct direction. All right? X, remember, what you're graphing is you're graphing the X. X is smaller than -1. So I'm going to point the arrow to the smaller numbers. And that is how you graph X is less than -1. Okay? Questions on that one? All right, here's the one I want you guys to try. Problem 26. Problem 26. All right, go. Anyone still working on that? Okay, 30 seconds. Turn to your neighbor and share. Go. All right, here we go. Problem number 26. All right, so we're supposed to graph y is greater than or equal to 3. So we put our number line. Y is being compared with 3, so 3 is the one I'm putting in the middle there. There is an equal sign, so I place a dot there. Not a circle, but a dot. And remember, we're graphing the y. Alligator mouth is eating the y, which is implying that the y is larger. So I point the arrow to the larger side. And there's our answer. Okay? Questions on that type of problem?
Didn't we do this earlier in the year?
Oh,
We were dealing with integers, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know if it was it with inequalities as well? Or just...
Yeah, it was inequalities. I remember doing that.
Okay. So it's a nice little lap over for those of you that stunk at it the first time, right? You have an opportunity to do well this time. All right, start fresh. Not that anyone stunk at it. We might have been all experts, but all right, here we go. One last one where we can get out of here on time. All right, let's take a look at problem number 10 on 364. All they're doing is they're actually giving you an equation. I'm sorry, a graph to an inequality. I don't know why I said equation. They're giving you a graph. And they have all the numbers there. Okay, you don't have to rewrite it. Well, you don't have to rewrite it. All right. Actually, though, for the sake of us doing this for notes, why don't you go ahead for number 10, rewrite it. You don't have to write all of it. Just write it just like this. All right, show the -2 because that's where it's being compared to, right? And it's showing the arrow pointing to the left. All right, here we go. Step 1, and you're just going to see it's almost exactly the same as the last time. It's just a different approach. But what you're doing is you're going to go ahead and you're going to put down the variable, which we could just use x. It doesn't tell us which variable to use, so we'll put x. And you're going to go ahead and use whatever number it's being compared to. In this case is a -2. You're going to place both of those down. Step 2. You're now looking, right, at the dot or circle, and it's a dot. So what does that mean? It's going to have a part of it has an arrow, right? So it's going to have part of an equal sign. And then step 3 is which way is the arrow facing? And that will tell you if it's eating the x or not. Is it going to the smaller numbers or the larger numbers? Smaller numbers. That means x is smaller than or less than -2. So it's almost exact same steps, but instead of looking and drawing, you're still looking at the drawing, but you're writing the inequality instead of looking at the inequality and writing the drawing. Okay? Okay, questions on that? Okay, I want you to try out really quickly. You don't have to draw the graph. I just want you to write the answer. Try out problem 36. Problem 36. All right. 30 seconds. Turn to your neighbor and share. Go.
X is greater than -4.
All right, eyes back up here. All right, here we go. We're going to go ahead, write our variable. We write our number, -4. Those are the two that are being compared to each other, right? And it shows something like this. Okay. You ask yourself, is this a dot or a circle? Is it equal or not? And the answer is no, it's not equal because it's a circle. So I don't put a line underneath, so it's just an alligator mouth. Remember, we are graphing the x, and it says the x is greater than the -4. So alligator mouth eats the x, and there's your answer. Okay, questions? All right, guys, starting of inequality.